So when we're navigating our twin flame journey, there's a lot of times in this path where it seems like something new is coming up, or you're walking into uncharted territories. And all of this is happening for a reason. It's here to peel back the layers to reveal things underneath them so you can rise up into the feminine that you are meant to be in this lifetime. Everything is here to activate you, to initiate you, and to pull you more and more towards that version of you that you desire to be. And when it comes to this twin flame journey, when we're going through these new parts of it, it can feel really confusing, especially if we don't understand what's going on. And when we don't understand what's going on, it can create unnecessary pain and suffering. And for me, as I talk about in a lot of my videos, especially those of you that have been following me for a while, you know I've taken the long way in every area of my life to get to where it is that I'm going. It drives people crazy. But for those of you that are my followers and you come across um, my teachings, it's to your advantage that I chose to do this at the level of the soul, because I experiment with things and I get to share with you things that work and what doesn't work. So you can take what resonates with you and start applying it to your journey. Discard the rest, whether it's from my teachings or the teachings of others. Because there comes a point in the time for many of you feminines where you're going to wake up one day and you might be in a conversation with your twin flame in person and you look at them and you're like, I don't even know who you are anymore. Or there might be a part of you that says, I'm not even attracted to you anymore. And this creates a lot of confusion for the feminine. And when this happens, I want you to remind you that the unconditional love that you have for your twin flame never fades. It never fades because it's unconditional love, especially when you get past the part of protecting yourself, when you're opening your heart, where you are really in that sacred detachment. I've been talking a lot about sacred detachment on my platforms. It's something that I feel very strongly about right now. So if this has ever happened to you and you looked at your twin flame and you're like, how did I ever love this version of you? Or how was I ever attracted to this version of him? Or if you look at him and you're like, who are you right now? Or if you think that they may not feel aligned with you right now, I want you to know that it's okay. It's okay to feel this way. It's okay to be in this place. And I know when you're in this place, it can bring up a lot of stuff, because it can bring up anger that, that you have towards him because he might not be changing in the ways that you want him to. It might be bringing up grief because you're mourning a version of him that you are no longer attracted to, or maybe a version of yourself that is no longer there. It can bring up confusion. It can bring up a lot of self doubt, especially when you're on this part of the journey where you're like, I don't know what's happening. Because when you're in this space, you can also start questioning your own heart, your own choices. And this is also too where the doubt starts coming in again about whether or not you're on the twin flame journey, and you start questioning this connection altogether. So let's talk about what's actually happening underneath. And this, feminines, is where you get to be excited and where we get to celebrate you, because one of the biggest things that's happening is the inner work that you are doing is creating changes within you. And so I want you to take a moment and think about that. Think about all the inner work that you have done, all the changes that have created in your own personal journey. And take some time and really recognize that in yourself. Because if you're anything like me, I don't do that enough for myself. And the universe is constantly reminding me, you need to be able to do this. Because when you're doing the inner work, when you've been doing the healing, when you've been reconnecting to yourself, this is how you evolve. And when you evolve, you are actually no longer energetically available for distorted patterns, which means the distorted masculine, the wounded masculine, even the distorted feminine, the wounded feminine. Like you're no longer an energetic match to that, which is also why in your 3D reality with your friendships, you might have friendships falling off that might have been around for years, maybe even decades, because you are energetically no longer available for them. I like to think that of it as you vibrating out of certain dynamics, because when you raise your frequency and those that are not matching you, they will eventually fall off. So when your masculine, when your twin flame shows up and they're in the distorted or even wounded version of themselves, so which means that they're really inconsistent, they might be emotionally unavailable, they're avoiding, or they're just misaligned, you will clearly feel this now. Where in the past, that's what you were attracted to. You were attracted to emotionally unavailable men. You were attracted to men who were giving you breadcrumbs. You were attracted to the highs and lows. And when you do enough healing work, that stuff no longer resonates with you, especially when you're doing work around healing your nervous system, because your nervous system will keep things that feel familiar. And when you start healing and regulating your nervous system, you start shifting into a way of, ooh, this might be familiar to me, but I don't want this anymore because this actually doesn't feel good to me. And your body is telling you that. And so when it comes to your masculine, the way that he shows up, it's not going to feel the same way that it used to. And there's reasons why behind that. And it's not because this connection isn't real. It's because you're no longer a match to that version of him. And oftentimes, too, this is where some feminines will start to explore dating other people. Some of you feminines know that that is not your path, and that's okay. Other feminines are like, well, maybe, since I'm losing the spark with him, maybe I should start dating other people because maybe this connection isn't what I thought it was meant to be. And there's medicine in that for them, right? But that doesn't mean that everyone has to start dating. You have to be able to trust your intuition and come back to that part of you that knows your path. So the second thing that happens, and this happens so it creates a shift in your connection. So you do not go back to him. You do not go back to the same pattern and the same cycle. And what I mean by this is you start losing that attraction to him. It's like you look at him and you're like, I cannot believe I actually fell for some of this stuff that you did. Right. And you start to see the ways that he really was um, acting out, where he was coming from. And you really start to see as well your role in the dynamic. And it becomes very clear. And it has to get to this point. So you will no longer take him back. You will no longer try to fix it. You will no longer then try to hold it together. You then stop over giving and you stop carrying the connection on your own. And a good way that I can think of this and share with you as an example that I have with one of my friends. And she's been on this journey for a while. Her and I are in the same wave. And she kept trying to hold the connection together. She kept trying to fix it. And she kept telling me, Melissa, I feel like I need to fix this. And I'm like, It's not your job to fix it. And I kept telling her it's not your job to hold the connection together. And she would oftentimes see things like, well, he's changing in this way and this way and this way. And I would ask her, but has he changed in the one way that you really want him to in order for you to continue to feel safe in this connection? And when I say safe, like it's not, there's no physical abuse, there's nothing like that that happens because if if there's abuse going on like that, to me, like it's not a true twin flame connection. But she wasn't feeling safe. She felt like she had to always overgive. She was a provider. And so for her, it got to this point where she was so frustrated, she finally just let it go. And she was like, I can't do this anymore. And she would tell me, she would say, I look at him and I'm like, I don't even want to be with him right now. I don't think I ever want to be with him because of all of this. And few months later, now she's moving through more things and she's realizing her role and what she allowed for him to do. She started understanding how she was overgiving and how she was doing the things to make the connection work. And even though her and I would have conversations with this, she couldn't quite see it yet, right? Because she wasn't ready to. And so when you get to this point and you no longer recognize him, this then creates the space that is necessary for you as a feminine to continue doing the work that you are being called to do. Because this is just the beginning of the work that you're going to be doing. And this also then is one of the first times, if you're really honest, where you decided to choose yourself, where you said, I'm no longer available to overgive to this connection. I am no longer available for emotionally unavailability. I'm no longer available for inconsistency because it doesn't feel safe in my body. I want more. I've been doing the inner work. And so now you can then create that space that you need to do to continue creating the life that you are here to live. And as a lot of you know, I am a big, big supporter of separation. I used to think for a really long time that separation wasn't necessary. I used to say this when probably like year 3 or 4 in my journey because I was really resisting separation. But where we are right now as a collective, as twin flames, we're not quite there yet. So we're needing that space, we're needing that time. So both the feminines and the masculines can grow in the ways that they need to. Separation isn't a punishment. It's not saying you did something wrong or that something is going wrong, that you've made the wrong choice. It's simply a sacred pause. It's a sacred pause for you to rise up into the feminine that you're meant to be. There's so many feminines that come into my reality that are just settling for breadcrumbs. They're settling for being in third party dynamics. And feminines, I'm here to remind you, you deserve to have a masculine fully choose you for the first time in your life. And I know how scary that can feel. And I know how overwhelming it could think to have somebody that is completely choosing you for the very first time in your life. And that's the work that is necessary during this time, plus other parts of your journey that you're going to be asked to navigate. Because there's lessons here for you to learn, there's lessons for him to learn, and they cannot be learned while staying in the same looping and the same patterning. Trust me, I've tried it. Trust me, my friend tried it. And trust me, I've seen so many of my clients do the same thing and it doesn't work. And ultimately, you are actually creating more pain, more suffering, and more work for yourself. So I want to talk about another layer that's really important to understand. at this phase of your journey, because this isn't about changing him. Nothing is ever about doing something for him. It's always doing something for you. And a result of that, it actually creates shifts within him. And when you're doing it for him, it's going to end up backfiring. Trust me. God and the universe are way smarter than than we realize. Because when you start shifting within you, when you start actually healing your inner masculine, guess what happens? Your masculine starts healing. Again, feminine. You don't heal your inner masculine to heal him. You heal your inner masculine for you, because that's how you help heal and support your feminine, where the feminine within you can rise. And when you start healing your inner masculine, you will start to see healthy, healed masculine energy around you. Because remember, what's happening inside of you has to be reflected to you in your external reality. So, which means, and if you are seeing and having healthy masculine energy within your 3D reality, it also then most likely is going to mean that your twin flame is changing as well. And so when you're healing your inner masculine, the feminine within you is rising. She's no longer available for that distortion. She's not. She's no longer attracted to the misalignment. She's no longer interested in chasing. She's no longer interested in the highs and lows that this connection once offered. And at the same time, what's happening is you're also starting to see shifts within your 3D reality. Because when you start to see your masculine start to anchor within you, your feminine rising within you, that's when inner union starts to be cultivated within you, where you're dancing with life through your inner feminine and your inner masculine. And your twin flame will continue to be your mirror. Because your twin flame, remember, is a mirror to your inner masculine. And what's happening between you and your twin flame is a reflection of what's happening within your own inner feminine and masculine. So, what do you do when you look at your twin flame, or you start feeling or thinking, why is he showing up like this? What is this energy? Why am I not attracted to him anymore? There's an invitation for you to go underneath that. There's an invitation for you to look underneath all of that, to peel back the layers and start to ask, where is my masculine energy disconnected from my feminine energy? Where is my inner masculine still inconsistent with me? And where am I not fully supporting, choosing, or leading myself? And why is this separation necessary for me right now? Where am I still living out of alignment? And this is why separation can be so powerful if you are willing to lean into it and to allow this to be the rising of your inner feminine, the rising of your own inner masculine, the rising of inner union within you. Because when you're in connection, it's easy to focus on him. It is. It's easy to focus on him. It's easy to fall back into the same loops and patterning. But when you're in separation, it's the part where you actually get to see yourself. You get to see yourself clearly. You get to see this dynamic clearly, because Honestly, for many of you, you were probably wearing rose-colored glasses for a really long time. You can see the patterns, you can see the dynamic in itself, and you can see the imbalances within the dynamic. Because you can't always see what's going on when you're deep within the dynamic. And this is what we call awareness. This brings things to the surface, to the light, and allows you to continue to peel back the layer so you can begin creating inner union to become the safety that you desire, the stability that you desire. And when we're talking about stability, it's just not financially, it's emotionally, mentally, it's physically, it's spiritually, it's all of it, right? And you then get to become the self led person that you are meant to be. And because most of you have been looking outside of yourself for all of this, including love. And when we look at separation, there's another layer to this time of separation. Because I know many of you probably resisted separation for a really long time. I know I did. I know my friends that are on the path did. And I know all the feminines that come into my containers do as well, right? Because there's a deep fear within you that if you actually let go of the thing that you desire, it is not going to return. And deep underneath that is a layer of you that loves to control everything. And you like to control because you don't trust. And all of this stuff can be showing up in various areas of your life. Like right now, I'm being asked to let go of things in a really big way. And we're not even talking like twin flame dynamic. We're talking about in my business and my life. And I was actually just journaling about it this morning. I'm asking myself, what is it that I'm afraid of if I let go and I surrender my business, surrender needing to know everything, trusting that I'll know what to do in the next step of my business, trusting that I'll know what to do and to handle when things start picking up and getting busier in my business. And I sat with it for a while and nothing was coming to the surface, nothing. So I got my pen and paper out and I started writing all this BS that was coming from my brain, like, oh, I'm afraid of this or afraid of that, overwhelm. And none of it was really emotional. These are all things that my mind was trying to tell me. And as I peeled back the layers, I started realizing that when you surrender and you let go, you're not in control, which means there can be the good and the bad that comes, right? You also get to a point in your journey where so much good stuff starts happening. And it starts coming in and coming in and coming in and coming in, and it doesn't stop. That is one of my fears of having all this great stuff happening in my life. I mean, great things have happened, but not one thing after another, after another, another. Because all I've known is struggle. All I've known is to fight for things tooth and nail. And this part of me says, what if it all starts coming in and I do something wrong? Because there is a belief there that if I do something wrong, it'll be taken away. And that's a limiting belief that I'm unraveling right now. But deeper underneath that is asking me to trust myself more, to trust in knowing that when things get busy, when things start to pick up, that I'm going to have the support. I'm going to have the help that I need. And it's just going to show up when I ask for it. And that's the other thing is we have to be willing to ask for what it is that we need, what it is that we desire, what it is that we want. And many of us are so afraid because whenever we've asked in the past, it was always a no. And so it brings all this stuff up for us to see in this time of separation. And that's why it is so important for us to embrace this part of our journey. Because when you are deep in separation as a feminine, this is your time to start unraveling everything that is preventing you from allowing the feminine within you to rise, and to peel back all the layers and all the beliefs that you have around creating a life that you desire. Because if you're waiting around for him, you're waiting for him to show up in order to start living your life. Guess what? You're always going to be waiting for him to start living your life. But when you start living the life that you want to live, whether he's in your life or not, that's what you're here to do. And then the next layer of it is to continue living that life when he returns without abandoning yourself, without letting go of the things that you have created for yourself right now in your journey, the things that have made you successful, the things that ground you, the things that you do um, to give gratitude and love to your body. Those things cannot stop when he returns. And that's what you're here to do and anchor in a really strong way in separation. And feminines, if you're really honest with yourself, there's a part of you that is frustrated about separation because there's this feeling of he's doing whatever it is that he wants. He's living his life. He seems to be just fine without me. And there's a part of you that feels that that's unfair. It feels like you're the one always doing the inner work. You're the one struggling financially. You're the one, you know, sitting there on the floor crying for hours because of something that you're healing. While it seems like he's just moving forward in his life. But what if? You all know that I love to play the what if game. What if this was actually a mirror? Hear me out. What if what you've been shown through him is what you're being called to fully choose for your life? What if he's showing you, go and live your life? What if he's showing you, live a good life, travel, take yourself out, do things? What if he's showing you all of that while there's this part of you that says, oh, I need to continue to heal in order to do blah, blah, blah. Fill in that blank, right? But what if you could heal and live your life at the same time? What if you stop making your life all about healing and heal and live? Because when you're living, when you're taking yourself out to dinner, when you're living your life, when you're traveling these solo trips, that's when shit's gonna surface. When you decide one day you're gonna take yourself out to a nice fancy restaurant because you wanna have that experience and someday you wanna share that experience with your twin flame, and you walk into that restaurant and you know you're about to drop $150 on a meal for yourself, that's gonna bring stuff up. That's gonna bring this parts of you up that says, "Oh my god, I'm afraid to be seen alone. Oh, maybe I'm afraid to be seen in this type of restaurant. Oh, maybe I feel unworthy to spend this kind of money on myself." That's what you're being asked to look at. So stop waiting. Stop putting things on hold. Stop making your happiness be dependent upon this on this connection. Because the reality is, feminine, you're here to live a full, expressed, aligned life. whether or not he is standing right next to you. That's your job right now. And many of you are avoiding it. Many of you are avoiding it. And that's where a lot of feminines feel resistance, because there's this fear underneath. If I fully choose myself, when I do this, what if, Melissa, what if he walks away from me? What if I lose the connection completely? And I know some of you are terrified to let go of it, because every time you've let go of something in the past, it didn't return. And maybe he doesn't return for several years, but that's okay. You're gonna be okay. And I know some of you are saying, but what if then I have to wait till next lifetime? What? That's okay. There's no guarantee that this lifetime is gonna bring union. But that's the risk that you have to be willing to take for you. To say, I am more worthy of living this life fully expressed, fully in who I'm meant to be. And I'm willing to lose him in the process to find me. But what if finding you was exactly what he needs you to do in order for him to come back? And when you begin to realize that he needs you to fully choose you, to fully live your expressed life, that's when things begin to shift, because you start living with your heart wide open, and you are living out your purpose and your mission, doing all the things that you desire, and you're choosing you. And this is the difference between sacred detachment and detachment. Detachment says, I'm going to shut myself down. I'm going to protect myself. I'm going to disconnect so I don't feel this. Sacred detachment says, my heart is still open. I'm still holding love for myself and for him, but I'm no longer abandoning myself for this connection. And this is where you stop overgiving. This is where you stop waiting. This is where you stop putting your life on hold. And instead, you begin pouring into your life. You start experiencing more joy. You start experiencing your purpose. You start receiving and living out your desires. And this is not a distraction. You're not doing these things from this place of devotion. When you're doing things from this place of devotion, it's not a distraction. You have to begin to learn the difference. But this is about being devoted to yourself. And so if you're in this space right now where you feel like you're not attracted to your masculine in the same way, it's an opportunity for you to get excited, because it just means that you're no longer available for the distorted or wounded masculine. You're no longer available for things that are misaligned. And when you fully embrace what others call separation, I like to think of it as a sacred pause, you begin to rise into who you're meant to be. And there will be one day where you get to meet him face to face, and you get to start relearning and start rediscovering all these amazing things about him. I know I went off on a little bit of a tangent, but it's okay. But I want to talk about some things that you can do if you're in this stage right now. First is bring back the focus to you. It's okay that you have lost this attraction, because the attraction that you had is just attraction to the distorted masculine. And every time your mind goes back to like, why is it that I'm not attracted to him in this way? Bring that focus back to you. And start getting curious and ask yourself, why am I feeling this way right now? What is it that I need right now? What would it look like if I chose myself more in this moment? Secondly, start building a relationship with your inner masculine. Ask yourself, where do I need more structure in my life? Where am I not following through with myself? Where can I create more safety and consistency with me? Because everything starts with you. Because your inner masculine's role is to support you, to protect you, and to lead you. And when you start doing all of that stuff for yourself, guess what's going to happen? Your masculine and your connection is going to do the same. Third thing is allow the separation. Allowing is one of my words right now. To allow. You don't have to fully allow right away. But ask yourself, how can I allow myself to be in separation 5% more than I was yesterday? And the next day, ask yourself, how can I allow myself to be 5% more in separation? Because separation is about giving up. This is coming from a place of trust. And this is allowing that space for you to dive deeper into the work and to trust that you're being guided back to yourself, back to the part of you that's magnetic, back to the part of you that wants to fully live and experience her desires. And if you take anything from this video, let it be this. Just because you don't recognize your twin flame right now, or perhaps you're not attracted to him right now, it doesn't mean this connection wasn't real. It doesn't mean that this connection is over. It means something deeper is trying to shift. And your only job at this moment is to stay rooted into who you are becoming. Because as feminines, we're not here to fix the connection. We're not here to hold it. We're not here to carry it. We're here to embody it from our truth within ourselves. And when you do that, what creates the shifts is the embodiment. And the embodiment part of it is what so many feminines miss out on because they're still up here and they're not in here. And if you're in this space right now, you're navigating separation, you're feeling the pull to choose yourself, but you're struggling to fully let go of these patterns because perhaps you can't see them, or perhaps you're like me and struggle a little bit with letting go. And this is the exact work that I do with feminines who are on this path because this part of the journey is learning how to stay open, to choose yourself while releasing all the control of the connection, releasing it to God and releasing it to your twin flame. And this isn't always something you can just figure out on your own. I tried for many years and I would end up in left field, as I said, lost and confused. And I myself needed a coach and healer to help me remind me and to rediscover my truth on this path. And that's what I'm here to do for you as well. And so if you're wanting to explore my options, I have several down below in the description box. Everything from my masterclass that's coming up at the end of June to Rise, which is my community for the feminines who are on the twin flame journey, to one-on-one coaching and a whole list of things. And if you don't know where to start and you're new to my work, at least download my free twin flame guide. And if you've gotten anything from this video, I would love to know by dropping a comment down below. But also to make sure you follow because I'm dropping a video every single week to help support you on your journey. And make sure you give this video a thumbs up so that way this video can find everyone else that needs to be able to hear this message. And as always, it's an honor to be on this path with you. And it's a privilege for me to be able to share what it is that I've learned on my journey so you can take what resonates with you and allow that to create shifts within you. And so I'm sending you all so much love and light and cannot wait to connect with you in the next video. Until next time.